Hey there, Internet friends. Trevor Starkey here, welcoming you to the first episode of That Nerdy Site Show, a weekly podcast where the team from That Nerdy Site gets together to talk about our lives and all of the nerdy things we love about them. If you enjoy what you hear, please remember to like, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast everywhere you can, and if you're feeling extra generous, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/thatnerdysite. Because this is the beginning of a brand new project for a lot of us, I wanted to use this opportunity to introduce the audience to the different members of the team from That Nerdy Site. But since an 8-person show might be a bit unwieldy, we're going to do it over 2 episodes. So joining me today, we have Cameron Abbott.
What's going on?
Hey, Cameron. We have Ben Bellevue.
What's up, guys?
And we have Echo Chloe herself, Chloe Naylor.
Hello.
Hello. So we're going to dive into everyone's origin stories a little bit, but before that, I have a bit of housekeeping. If you are listening to this the weekend of November 1st, please feel free to come join us throughout the weekend where myself and the other half of the team will all be together in Austin streaming at twitch.tv/thatnerdysite to celebrate both the launch of this new thing and also, of course, help out the big, beautiful kids for Extra Life as part of Team Kinda Funny. We're not going to be doing the stream for 24 hours straight like a lot of people, but we will be going for about 8 to 10 hours on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'll definitely cover 24 hours over the course of the weekend. So check out the Twitter at That Nerdy Site for the schedule and details if you are so inclined. And if everything goes according to plan, we'll wrap up the stream either on Friday or Sunday by recording the second part of this introduction to everybody else. So with that out of the way, let's dive into it. I kind of want to, obviously I've been friends with all of you guys for a number of years now. So I kind of want to introduce the rest of the world to you for anybody that hasn't already heard your stories as well. So who wants to start out? Anybody want to kind of kick it off? All right, I'm going to throw it to Cameron then. Cameron, tell us how you got involved in all this stuff.
Well, it was a crisp evening at 11:50 p.m. when my mother gave birth to me on November 1st, 19... I'm joking.
Maybe not that far back.
Learn story structure, Cameron.
I will...
You're right, it actually would have been a snowy evening.
Yeah, because you... that's right, because on the day this goes live, November 1st, is your birthday, correct?
Oh, that is true. Yeah, I turned 30.
Yeah, happy early 30th as we're recording this. Happy 30th as it goes live.
Yeah.
So I guess a little bit more direction then for you, Cam. You and I first met at the very first Kinda Funny Live, where we happened to just by random happenstance room together. We got situated and sorted. Sean Pitts at that time was doing a lot of like room arrangements in the community. He was kind of figuring out who was going and kind of putting people in contact with one another, and he grouped us together because we were both in the Kinda Funny community and both happened to be from Phoenix. So
I remember that because I flew in the morning of, like that morning, not that morning. I flew in Thursday morning, and you guys had already been there since Wednesday. And I flew in, and the first thing that happened was you met me at the at the front door of the hotel.
Yep.
And you proceeded to. So I don't know how you felt about it. I felt I had another option to go with, but I felt like going with you because we had somebody who we had that was like mutual friend that neither of us had actually talked to in like years. But that mutual friend gave me confidence that if you did murder me, that could be a link that would get back to you, and the police could track you down that way.
That's right. Who? It was. What was the guy's name? Because he's somebody I haven't thought about in a while.
Was it Xavier? I think it might have been Xavier.
No, I didn't meet Xavier until after that. I think it was he was a Mormon kid I had done theater with, right?
Oh yeah, Thomas Brower. That's who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have not thought about him in quite a while.
I think he's he was a banker for a while. I don't know what he's doing these days.
I mean, yeah, he went on his mission after I knew him. So
yeah, and I met him before and then after, just through mutual friends. But anyway, we met. So I was like, you know what, this is okay. And then you proceeded to like walk me behind so the hotel's ATM was basically like in the very back of the behind in the employee section of the lobby, basically. And so he just keeps walking me through this lobby all the way to the back, and I'm like, oh my, he might actually be getting this out of the way before the weekend starts and just murder me. And then, nope, sure enough, there's the ATM. I handed you the cash, and our friendship began. Like all great friendships, they started with a monetary transaction.
Of course. Because I had paid for the hotel,
Yeah, yeah.
not because anything illicit was going to happen.
Good old capitalism.
Yeah. So that's how we met. We proceeded to romp around San Francisco for a couple of days, and then when that weekend was over, we're like, okay, well, we live by each other. We figured out we live like 10 minutes away from each other at the time, and I'm like, well, oh man, I'll probably see Trevor all the time. No.
Yeah, the running joke for like the first couple of years there was like I would see people like you and Nate Finston who lived here 10, 15 minutes away from me, but we would only ever see each other in San Francisco or at events or stuff like that, because we were all hermits and nobody went out. When did you start Naughty Gamers? When did you
Oh,
start doing that?
Naughty Gamers. Oh man. Naughty Gamers, then now known as KGN, the podcast network that I founded and have left now. I founded that, I want to say it was the January after Kind of Funny Live 1. Yeah, January after Kind of Funny Live 1. So, gosh, when was that? How long ago was that?
That would have been 2016.
2016, yeah. So, January of 2016 is when I founded Naughty Gamers with my co-host Chandler, and I began podcasting every week for 4.5 years before I left.
Just earlier this summer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Earlier this fall,
Yeah,
actually.
okay.
Yeah.
Then, like, a couple weeks passed, and we went and saw Joker, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do this thing I'm doing?" And you were like, "Yes," and I was like, "All right."
Pretty much, yeah. That's how it worked out. And you're like, "Yeah, you can host a podcast." And I said, "No."
Yeah. Sure.
I'm taking a long break before I host anything again. I did that for 4.5 years every week. I'm okay walking away for it right now.
All good.
But
We've got plenty of podcasts in the hopper. I don't think we need necessarily everybody to have their own to host one, but the offer is always there, of course, if we go that route. That's you and I. I've certainly known you the longest of this bunch of people, and you're one of the very first people I met in kind of the Kind of Funny community as a whole, because of that like random happenstance of rooming together. So it's been a ton of fun. You and I have done many
the adventures we've had.
many adventures, many a sleepless night for me.
That's unfair but totally true.
Yeah, and then I've bought you a lot of Portillos because you have more accurately predicted wrestling matches than I have many times.
It's because you book in with your brain and not with like the basic understanding that they don't know how to book wrestling.
Yeah. I'm getting better about that, but yeah, it's still bad. Cool.
I remember when the streak was broken. It was a painful day for me.
It's like right before WrestleMania finally. Excellent. Well, we will circle back because I want to hear kind of how you met Ben and then Chloe as well. But I want to circle over next to then Ben because Ben would be the next one that I met in this group. I was going through as part of like getting set up for that nerdy site. I was migrating pretty much all of the articles from Trevor Trove over into basically a Trevor Trove archives on the new site. And in doing so, I found the write-up I did of our day at Disneyland together before PSX, like the first Anaheim PSX.
Right, yeah.
Because that was I want to say that was the first time like we really hung out. We might have met like briefly in passing at a Kind of Funny event before that, but that was basically like you and I went and hung out, and I broke the Haunted Mansion,
which you could still do somehow.
Yeah. Still manage to pull that off pretty much every time we go there. So Ben, kind of fill me in a little bit, like before that point. How like obviously I know you've known Greg since many a year ago.
Yeah.
From like the Beyond days and Portillo's meetups and stuff. How did you get into all this?
Yeah, I mean, like you've touched on with all of us, we've all been pulled together somehow through the whole Kind of Funny thing. I was pulled into that just through the natural beginning process of like, I read IGN because when I was 14 years old, I was like, oh, people write about video games. That's cool. I want to know what's going on. So I started reading IGN. I started listening to podcasts, Podcast Beyond, especially because I was a PlayStation kid growing up. And that brought me, it tracked me. It was like IGN, Greg Miller, because of Podcast Beyond, Greg Miller to the Game Over Greggy show, Game Over Greggy show to Kind of Funny. And then I didn't go to Kind of Funny Live 1, despite wanting to, because I was 20 and it was a 21 plus event. But I eventually made it to Kind of Funny Live 2. I met you in passing, like you're saying there, but that's where I became friends with a lot of the people that we know now, or became friends with people who connected me with a lot of the people that we know now. So this kind of network of online content creators that we're in, of like OK Beast and Irrational Passions, that was how I got pulled in Kind of Funny Live 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. And then we did a day at Disneyland, whereas you and me at
a day at Disneyland.
You and me at first. It was the day before PSX 2016, I guess that would have been.
I remember because I know I said goodbye to you at Kind of Funny Live too, because like I'd seen you, I knew of your existence because people were like, "Oh, Papa Starkey," and I was like, "Who is that?"
Daddy Trevor, I think, was the actual nomenclature.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, Daddy
right.
Trevor. Daddy Trevor, get it right.
Papa Starkey sounds like
days.
way more dignified somehow, I guess.
I was changing it. I was changing it to Papa for your benefit. I forgot it was Trevor instead of Starkey.
Yeah,
but
it was Daddy Trevor and Mama Joe.
God.
I remember that. We made a family trait.
Yeah.
It was
I remember
interesting.
that. I remember hearing about that. So so it was weird because, like, I think we can all relate to, and maybe viewers can relate to too. So many of us know each other over the internet, even if it's like I knew I'd met you in person. So in my head, as we became friends over Twitter in those 6 months between Kind of Funny Live 2 and Disneyland, I was like, oh yeah, Trevor and I are friends. And then I got to Disneyland and it was just the two of us. And I was like, I've never spoken to Trevor for more than a minute in person. And this is weird.
Yeah. But we made it work. We got joined by
it was lovely.
by a couple people throughout the rest of the day. Franklin Sizemore joined us at one point around lunch, I want to say, and then Jonathan Ruiz joined us later in the day. And yeah, it was
Wow, you have a much better memory of that.
again. I was just going through the articles and stuff that I'd written, so I saw like
Makes
all
sense.
the pictures, and it was basically like it started out with a picture of just you and me, and then Franklin got added in the mix, and then Jonathan got added in the mix. So, but yeah, I also have like weird eidetic memory for some of that kind of stuff. Some of those things. A lot of them like some of the stuff Cameron mentioned earlier, I was like, oh, I'd completely forgotten all that stuff. Well, I think speaking...
Who are you?
Yeah, speaking of Disneyland, I think that also works as a nice segue into Chloe, because Chloe, unlike Ben, did not know me at all before she tweeted me while at Disneyland and was like, hey, you and... I was hanging out with Jordan Town, another friend of ours in the community, and
My former roommate.
Ben's former roommate, and fellow prom venger with Ben and Chloe. And yeah, we were hanging out, and Chloe just tweeted me randomly. I don't even know how I saw it at first because I wasn't it didn't pop up in my notifications or something. It was a weird thing. I was like, I don't know who this person is. She doesn't follow me. I don't follow her. What? Okay, yeah, we're here. And then we found you over by the where the Country Bear Jamboree kind of stuff used to be. And within 15 minutes, we were riding on Splash Mountain together and hanging out. And then
I'm convinced that's the bravest Chloe has ever been.
I remain to this day incredibly impressed by the bravery to just put yourself out there, complete strangers at Disneyland in not your home city kind of thing. So yeah, what led to what were you doing out there in the first place? Because you were obviously there for PSX that weekend. That was 2017.
Yeah. And I was on a Kind of Funny Reddit trying to figure out what everyone was doing. So I'm like, okay, I want to I somewhat know Kind of Funny. I want to kind of meet the community. So I saw community events all people are going to Disneyland the day before it started or whatever. I'm like, okay, I'll go. Got a ticket. I'm like, I want to go to Disney anyway, so I did. I went around
you had pictures
morning,
with Darth Vader and Boba Fett beforehand.
Exactly.
I remember looking through your feed being I don't know who this person is, but she's been hanging out at Disneyland all day taking pictures with Boba Fett.
Oh yeah, I made a beeline for Star Wars. I'm gonna take care of that. I'm like, okay, now maybe we should find some people because I was on the Reddit and I found Kyle's Twitter from that, and like from his replies, I'm like, okay, if I can find like him, and then I found like you from that. I'm like, okay, you and Jordan. I just kind of put that out to like a bunch of you guys. I'm like, okay, who wants to hang out because I need friends. And I'm so glad that I did. I found you guys. We hung out. We went to Splash Mountain.
I ended up bolting shortly after we met because I went back to, because that was the year they did like the Friday night keynote thing, and I was like, well, I want to go get like seats for that basically. So I left early for that because I needed to go back to the hotel or something. But you and Jordan hung out, and then we hung out like the rest of the weekend. You got kind of brought into the Kind of Funny fold.
Yeah, that's where I met like all of you guys actually, I think.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't there.
Cameron besides you, but
I had, unfortunately, the day before PSX, I had a final that I had to do, my last final.
that sucks.
Yep, it didn't even matter because I basically didn't even pass the class.
Oh no.
Oh man.
That was a bad time for me.
Wah, wah.
Yep. Anyway, but I got to meet Chloe at prom.
Yeah.
That's where we. Yeah.
Yeah, because at that PSX, Chloe and Ben basically became inseparable, and we're hanging out doing Uncharted things and Spider-Man things.
I never got into the Uncharted room.
You know, yeah, just attempted Uncharted things. Sorry.
So sad.
You got a photo with it.
I did. Me looking depressingly at it. And honestly, that's probably better for content, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feeds into your brand.
You ruined us all with your very terrible Zootopia comic that you shared with all of us.
That was like one of your first impressions of me was showing you
Wait,
the pro-choice
you showed him
Zootopia comic.
What?
Does Cameron not know this?
Oh
No.
Since you weren't there, I'll send you the link later, buddy.
Don't read it. Don't. Cameron, save yourself.
It's so good.
Ben, I've been on the internet since I was like 7 years old. There's like, I've seen some shit, man. All right, I've just seen some stuff.
That was like everyone's first impression of me sitting in the lobby of the Hilton as they read the comic. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm not. This is really fun.
Yeah. No,
And you've maintained that pure evil energy since.
Ever since, yeah, I have not changed.
I don't know if that's evil so much as like maybe a little malevolent. I'm okay with that.
You haven't read it
Yeah,
yet.
okay. Yeah, it's a pro-choice Zootopia comic. By context alone, I get it.
Oh, it's not pro-choice.
Great.
Is it pro-choice or pro-life?
I think it's pro-choice.
It
pro-life, I
tackles
thought.
the issue.
tackles
I don't recall which way it leans personally, but yeah, I remember.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I just remember like. Yeah, that was just a fun weekend of like first impressions meeting Chloe. Of like, okay,
Yeah.
super brave, super into like Uncharted and like PlayStation and also this weird Zootopia meme-ish type thing.
I also remember us drunkenly at the hotel bar Sunday night, and it was like 11 p.m. and Chloe was still there despite taking a train to and from PSX, and the trains were closed. So she was like, "So I don't have a way home. Can you guys drive me up to the valley?" And we're like, I don't know what option there is, but yes.
Thank you for that, by the way.
I mean, I wasn't the driver. It was just my car.
Yeah, that's true.
Well
I fell
done.
asleep.
I would hope you guys phrased it as you were all drunk. I hope you weren't the driver.
I wasn't. I wasn't even.
Yeah, because
Okay, I was
you were still underage, so you were.
Yeah.
Oh, that's almost worse.
Yeah.
That's almost worse.
That you guys
Just
basically spent
hanging-
the entire night getting drunk in front of somebody who wasn't of age yet?
No, that she was sober and did that.
Yeah. Oh my god, I remember at Portillo's, like somebody asked me, I think it was Blessing, like who my favorite Uncharted character was, and I said Rafe, and he's like, "Oh, that's a cool choice." Not knowing how deep it goes, how weird I am.
Yeah.
Oh man!
It was just-
If only
it
that's
was-
that's even just scratching the surface, like how obsessed you are with Rafe.
Oh yeah.
Like that's just the surface of like the weird, like, man, Chloe. Like wow.
Not even the weirdest character I like.
the iceberg that is Chloe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. So yeah, then I guess let's fast forward then to prom would have been the first time like we were all in the same place at the same time. And there are there people I guess Ben and Chloe, you guys would have met everybody at Austin at RTX this year. Did you meet Frank?
I knew Frank.
Okay, you
I
knew
know she
Frank.
did,
Oh,
yeah.
did you meet Frank?
Was Frank at PAX?
Yes, yeah.
Yes,
Frank was
yes.
also at PAX.
Okay, that's yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you guys know everybody because I'm trying to think like,
Hmm.
and because we also hung out with Jazz while we were there, and Logan. So yeah, like, and then Cameron knows everybody. So yeah, hey, I think there might be like one or two people that Jazz. Yeah, no, I guess Jazz knows everybody. So yay! I'm just realizing that like our squad of 8 people actually all knows each other, is all met.
Well, it's like
Yay,
we're a
hooray!
family.
That's always nice. Um, but yeah, so prom is would have, at least for this quartet, would have closed the loop when Cam met Chloe. So any first impressions there between you two?
We met at Wing Wings, I think. Were you there for that when everybody was hanging out at Wing Wings? Maybe not.
I think I'm trying to remember. I
That
honestly,
was the night that Ben went to see Hamilton and made
That was
everybody
not the
super
night I went to
jealous.
see Hamilton. That was a different Kind of Funny Live. That was Kind of Funny Live 3.
What am I thinking of? Oh no, never mind. You were just there. I'm sorry. I'm blending in a lot of things right
I
now.
understand.
Chloe, I definitively remember a couple of things about Chloe at prom. One, she was part of the prom Vengers, who I was super jealous that, like, I was like, oh man, I forgot people do prom groups. I'm just here by myself. Hi everybody.
Brought a ton of
I
rulers.
remember I did bring a bunch of rulers and I put them between people and I said, hey, leave some room for the Holy Spirit, please. Because I went as a father. I went as a father as a chaperone.
yeah.
That's kind
I
of
remember seeing
great.
you at prom. I know I saw you before then. I'm trying to remember.
No, yeah, we met it before somewhere, but I remember being at prom because, oh shoot, I think I asked you to dance and you like said no and you explained something, the reason why, but I couldn't hear you, so we just stood there awkwardly.
Okay, fair enough. I don't think I've said yes to a single person at any dance I've gone through my entire life, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, you're like no,
Or do feel
and,
bad.
and I was like okay, I could read your lips when you said no, and then you like gave like some sort of explanation, and then it was like cool, and I just like stood there awkwardly for a little while, and I was like cool, I'm gonna go now.
Also, there was like no slow dancing at prom or anything. So like what?
It was like
Like,
there was not, I don't think it was a slow, like it was like a dance, like a partner dance song, but like not like a slow dance song. The important part is that in the brief moments that I first met Chloe, it was definitely me being a giant doofus. That's the important thing to take away from all of this. The second thing is that when Chloe got stuck in San Francisco because her flight kept getting delayed, that was when we hung out in the hotel room
yep.
with everybody.
Yeah, that was
And
fun.
I would
After I
say
dumped
that's
her off
where,
on you guys.
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, that would when I that like that's when I would say Chloe and I became friends.
Cool.
As she shyly sat in a corner of the hotel room
Sat in
for
the corner.
several hours until like some like scared puppy, and we finally were like, "Come on, Chloe, come on out of the corner, come on, come on."
Oh,
That
man.
hotel room is also where Cameron and I continued to be enemies.
I don't know if like it's more like frenemies. We've always been more like frenemies than enemies.
That's fair. But enemies still in it. I feel like it.
Like
feel
we're
like if
just
you
it's
I feel like if we're talking to each other in like a civil way and call each other enemies, the friend part is implied.
yeah. It's just on Twitter where you voice things that I don't agree with, and I voice things that you don't agree with.
Yeah.
You know?
And in those
People-
hotel rooms when you guys
And in person,
yeah
yeah.
you guys
Yeah,
just
in person.
have like very opposing thoughts on surprising amounts of things.
I think the appropriate way to refer to us is diametrically opposed foes.
Nice.
Ah, Mr. Hamilton.
Oh no, you're Mr. Hamilton for sure in this scenario. I'm 100% Mr. Jefferson. I've always been the Jefferson to the Hamel Bros. That's for sure.
That's fair.
Indeed. Excellent. So I want to, because one of the things that I love about that nerdy site, not to like toot my own horn here, is like I basically wanted to try and bring together people that like didn't really have a spot that they were kind of creating stuff online. Like OK Beast has kind of their crew in Irrational Passions, and you three were all kind of doing your own disparate things. And then I would say in your case you weren't even really necessarily creating anything.
I was about to say, I don't think I was doing anything.
But like we talked about kind of some ideas and stuff, and you were very interested in starting to create things, but you didn't have like a place to do it. So I guess to for kind of the the other component of this episode, I want to kind of like what ideas and what shows, and obviously one of them you guys have already started recording and stuff. What things are you interested in and bringing to the table here in terms of content? So then I'll kick it off with you as kind of the newest one of us to content creation.
Oh boy. I just put together a podcast, man. I'm working on that still. That Wannabe Film Class is the first one. I like it because, like, small plug for Chloe and Logan and I's podcast. The idea behind it is
what I'm giving you the opportunity to do.
Yeah, thank you. I'm running with it. It's an opportunity for us to talk about movies that we love. I feel like a lot of podcasts get caught up in a structure where it's like, oh, watch all of this director or this actor's catalog, or watch all of the MCU, or watch all of X, Y, and Z. And that's cool. I enjoy those podcasts, but I don't really feel like we need to add to them. So what we're about more is like, hey, there's a lot of diversity in like types of movies, and we can find things to love in all those different types of movies. So let's look at horror films and find a horror film that each of us likes. Let's look at movies from the 2000s and find a movie from the 2000s each of us likes, and then find other voices who we can bring in on a monthly basis to give us new opinions about different types of movies. And that's my big thing, because I love film a lot.
Yeah, and in just kind of general life, you're doing. I don't remember if it came up yet in the episode or anything, but we were talking a little bit about it beforehand. Obviously, you just got your degree in screenwriting,
Yeah.
so that's kind of like obviously a significant passion of yours, I would say.
Oh, for sure. Like I'm taking I just graduated, as you said. I'm taking a year to live at home. That way I only have to work to pay like basic expenses, not pay for housing in Los Angeles. And I'm using that free time to write scripts as much as I can. So that's the general pursuit, the general direction I'm moving my life in, is screenwriting. So I love storytelling, whether that be movies, TV, video games, comic books. Those also exist.
Yeah. We haven't really talked too much in depth. A lot of our initial conversations so far have been revolving around a lot of the podcasts and stuff, but there is certainly, and one of the things I've been working on a lot is like the written components of the website. Is film reviewing anything that you're kind of interested in getting into, or you want to kind of leave that off of the critical hat and really focus on like, hey, let's just talk about things we like?
I don't know, honestly. I haven't super thought about film reviews specifically. I've thought about like film essays, maybe even like video essays if I learn enough to be able to put those together effectively. But that's generally, I've thought of it more in terms of analyzing things that interest me, not like, oh, I'm going to go watch this movie and review it. I'm going to watch this movie and review it. It's definitely not a hard and fast thing, though. I write little stupid reviews on Letterboxd of all the new movies I see, so I'm definitely open to the idea of expanding that, but it isn't the forefront of my pursuits.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, if we're bringing up Letterboxd, can we bring up Chloe's Letterboxd account?
You just did, so
Yeah.
I guess you've answered the question.
Cool. Chloe, tell people where they can find your Letterboxd account. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but if you want to like if you want to know a good portion of why sometimes I like to call Chloe the best girl on the internet, like check out her Letterboxd reviews and you will understand why. Like a good portion of why.
I'm looking them up to remind
Because they
myself
are
now.
Oh yeah.
they are incredible. I believe that Transformers Dark of the Moon might be like the best one.
I hate her.
That's the one I rewatch constantly. Just watched it again. It's my favorite movie
it's-
of all time, unironically. My Letterboxd is just Echo Chloe like every other platform, but
Good. It's important to note that her reviews are much more than just like, oh, this was a good movie. I won't spoil it. I've done enough. I've put it out there into the ether. Internet, find it like I did and understand just like why.
I appreciate that you rewatched Lion King and liked it more, Chloe. I'm just scrolling through her Letterboxd now.
you do that. That's fine.
Well, while I have you, Cameron, what are you looking to? Obviously, we talked a little bit about that. You kind of stepped away from Naughty Gamers earlier a few months ago.
We refer
Sorry,
to it as
KGN.
it's more refined. Yeah.
Sorry. Like I still, yeah, it was locked in my head as Naughty Gamers because it was KNOTTY, not Naughty. Although you were intentionally going for that pun, but so
Oh
KGN.
yeah, it was 100% the double entendre
Yeah.
on that
So
one.
so
Because we're like, wouldn't this be great and set us apart from everybody? Wrong, 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 wrong. One of the many, many mistakes I made in creating my site.
Yeah, so a lot of the conversations you and I had about that nerdy site before kind of bringing you into the fold were just kind of like you were doing KGN, so I knew you kind of had your own thing, um, and but I was using you often as a sounding board for here are ideas I have, here's shows I'm kind of thinking about and pitching. So kind of I guess tell me a little bit about the decision to kind of step away from KGN, and then and I guess why you were interested in hopping back in with our band of misfits.
I think I'll address the last part of that real quick. And also the first question of what I bring. I'm just really here to be like the sounding board. I'm here to ride shotgun. I'm here to, I'm here to kind of be a supporting role, so to speak. Most of my writing's done over at handsomephantom.com, what little I'm able to put out with my new schedule. But, what I do put out, I usually put out like weird editorials that talk about a certain subject from a different angle. But really what I'm primarily focusing on as part of that nerdy site is to be less of a editor or author or even a contributor, and being more of somebody who, hey, we need somebody to fill in for this. Cool, I'm your guy. Hey, we need somebody to do this. Cool, I'm here. I know in the future you and I are looking at doing a wrestling podcast. But like for that, I would definitely like co-host with you. But like when it comes to what happened with KGN, I stepped away from KGN in August when I had started my new job. And I was looking at kind of the future of where I'd been, what I've done. And when you make about 4.5 years of podcasts every week, without ever taking a break, like never missing a week of an episode, it takes a toll on you. And it got to the point where it was less of something I was looking forward to do and more of something that I did out of habit rather than out of passion. And I realized that in combination with the podcast and what I'd been writing, like my writing was much more of what I was passionate about, but I wasn't feeling a lot of passion at the time for video games. And so I took the time to listen to an episode that I say the podcast was every week. I wasn't always on it every week. There were a few weeks that I was not there, but I took a time to listen to an episode without me, and I realized that the two co-hosts that I had, a friend of mine, or two friends of mine who I'd kind of brought into this to do this with, had such a great rapport, and without me being on it, and I recognized kind of like their unique talent of doing a duo rather than us being a trio. And it wasn't even like some like sort of like, oh, I'm just not good enough. It's like I know how good I am on a podcast, but hearing the two of them together without me made me realize that they still had a passion to keep doing this, and it was time for me to step away. So that's really what it came down to. But yeah, I'm just here to be like your sidekick.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean I can very much appreciate the burnout nature, as you know full well. Obviously with Trevor Trove, I started that out doing writing and publishing every day I went 300 days, and super burnt out doing that, and then took some time away, and then came back and did daily vlogs for a full year, and super burnt out on that. So mine wasn't like prolonged over 4.5 years like yours was. It was a much more like condensed thing. And so yeah, this is like the first thing I'm really coming back and doing is all this stuff with that nerdy site. And I will have kind of a big old like launch celebration post that I'm going to put up on the website, talking about all this stuff. But like originally when I started coming up with a lot of ideas for this site and some of the shows and stuff I wanted to do, I could feel myself falling back into the habit of like I don't have time to do all of this. I'm going to kill myself again. And it wasn't until around PAX West this year that I was like, oh, but also I could try and do it with other people. And so that was like PAX West was where I pitched it to Ben and Chloe and got you guys on board and then kind of came back and brought other people on board as well. So being able to be like, okay, like I'm gonna take a couple of these shows, but Ben and Chloe and Logan have that film show that they can do, and I don't need to be completely hands-on with that. I'll provide whatever support I can to it, and if they ever want to have me on, I'm happy to do it. But
We
I
will.
don't have to like commit to that on a weekly basis, which is like very like a sigh of relief because it's a show that I want to exist, but I know that if I wanted to try and do it all myself, I would get super overwhelmed again. So I can definitely relate on that front, and I appreciate that that yeah, you and we've talked about if one of our Patreon milestones is, hey, we'll do a wrestling show, and even that it's not going to be a weekly show because I have enough of those on the docket, but you and I'll sit down and kind of before and after kind of big pay-per-views or something, we'll sit down and do what we've been doing for better part of a couple years in the past. We'll come up with our predictions, we'll eat some Portillos, and then we'll react to the matches and stuff, and kind of give our general thoughts, but not necessarily have to be like so in the weeds with the product and stuff. And then yeah, like I also have you on the first season that we're doing of that Ultimate Video Game List show, which we've recorded a couple episodes of that as of this recording, and that's been a lot of fun so far already. So I look forward to kind of continuing to do that. So I want to then circle over to you, Chloe, because I would say like you, of the bunch of us, like your TikToks and stuff is a very different type of content than anything I was used to seeing or creating. But then I also like I will see your TikToks or I will see like your Twitter videos have like thousands upon hundreds of thousands of views and stuff. I'm like, okay, more people know Chloe exists than any of the rest of us. So
Yeah.
specifically, I think you have such a great eye for like that very short form content. So what got you into wanting to play around with that kind of stuff?
Honestly, I have no idea. I just like making people laugh, and that's the fastest way to do it. Just something quick, edit a meme or something, just slap some words on a already existing meme, and there you go.
She posted a new one today.
Nice. Did she?
I did. I posted a new TikTok today.
I'm
It's
still not.
yeah.
I guess I should I. So I will bounce this off you guys. I have not acquired or have not looked into the social for TikTok for that nerdy site. Should I get that nerdy site a TikTok account?
Why not?
Can't
Why
hurt.
not? All right. I'm gonna.
Can't hurt, exactly.
I'll put that on you to actually come up with stuff for it, Chloe, because that's certainly your your area of expertise.
Fair enough,
um,
yeah.
But obviously, in doing that, you caught the eyes of the team over at Kind of Funny, and you got to go out there for their big up and comer thing, which you killed.
Thank you.
Congratulations! Even if you did kill Party Mode in
did,
in
sorry.
doing so,
And she killed PSX. Let's not forget that.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, I missed PSX, so I know for a fact I didn't kill it.
And Kind of Funny live events.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're right.
We haven't had a Kind of Funny live event since Chloe attended one.
Good go. There-
Oh my
Be
god,
careful.
what have I done?
are you gonna cancel London? Is that what's happening next?
Well, RTX London was already
That's
canceled.
true. Yeah.
That's true. I remember when
And
that
RTX
happened.
was hanging on by a
A lot of
wire.
people were upset.
Oh my God.
So.
You sure you want me on this site?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, if we have you at the beginning, I don't know. I don't know if the curse works. Like you're the harbinger of the end, but this might be the podcast that destroys.
We
the
are
rest
the
of
end.
it.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough.
And there
That's
are
fine.
plenty like KFAF is still going on, so it's not everything you touch is doomed.
True.
Just a lot of things.
Just most of
So
it.
we'll hope we're on the good end. So what was that up and comer week like for you? I know you. There's also a great We Have Cool Friends with you where you kind of went into some of this. So I don't need like the full story, but just kind of in terms of kind of giving you a better look at the kind of content you want to create. I know you've done some editing stuff with them, kind of in the aftermath. So yeah, what was that? What was that whole thing like?
Insane is a word for it, I guess. It's really honestly still feels too good to be true. I still can't believe that happened and that they picked me. Blessing talks about the imposter syndrome all the time, and I totally feel that. I'm like, why? Because, like, I haven't done any content before this, and yet they still picked me, and people said they had killed it. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I was so worried. But I had the time of my life out there, and it was really cool seeing how they get things done and all that actual, like, cool content, and that's, like, produced very, like, professionally, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's dope.
Yeah, I was looking through. I don't know if you saw yet. I uploaded the Patreon video to our Slack channel. That's going to go live. And and I, for like introducing everybody for your segment as I'm talking about you, I basically say something to the effect of like, Chloe's working with us at least until Kind of Funny takes her, or some kind of robot romance. And I pulled the clip from KFAF of you guys all doing the robots with Chloe dance.
Chloe, I have a question for you. That actually reminds me. Sorry.
Okay.
Would your dream romance in this scenario that Trevor brought up be a robot that looks like Rafe Adler? Or is he too human looking at that point? Does it like take away the robotness of it?
I don't know. Because honestly, I'm not a huge fan of like androids. I'm more like, if you're gonna be a robot, just go.
I mean, I remember like PSX with the so.
Okay, listen.
So.
Oh, I have a modification to put on that statement, Ben. Looks like Rafe, but it's very clear robot.
So like Ex Machina with
features, like robot, but less of a flesh. There's no flesh mask on it. It is 100% like chrome robot, but it is arranged in a way where the face and like frame look like Rafe.
Just has a good head of hair is basically what you're saying.
Really.
The robot has a good head of hair.
It's more like very thin synthetic cords that he uses to like, I don't know, something yada yada electricity.
Got it.
But that's not what's important. What's important is that it resembles enough like hair, but it's not. So still robot.
Honestly, at that point, I think I would just prefer like human Rafe Adler.
Okay.
I think that's the right call. Oh yeah, you got to meet Jake Gyllenhaal recently. How was that?
I did, which was not real. I'm not convinced that man is still real. Like, oh my god, his eyes are way too blue. He's not a real person, I swear to God. But he's great. I love him. Dream come true right there.
Nice.
Yeah.
We could tell from the images, and he was a bit concerned, but yeah.
You did. Excellent. We're not recording this as a video podcast yet, but Chloe, for us on the Discord call, just pulled up her picture of her and Jake Gyllenhaal back to back.
She
had
it there
right next to her. I mean,
like it's not even.
I get it.
That wasn't even part of a bit. Like she just had it there naturally. Like she just pulls it up to look at it.
I want to believe she just has like many
copies
copies strategically placed throughout her house, so at any point she can just be like, ah, yes.
I mean, it's also like my lock screen
Good
on my phone.
God.
So,
Of course.
Look at it constantly. It's Jake Gyllenhaal, man.
No, I understand that feeling exactly because I have that water paint portrait of Alex O'Neill and his cat
Nice.
as my lock screen. Still to this day. It's been years, but I don't feel the need to ever change
I have no
it.
idea what painting's being referenced.
So, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, there was that, like, app that everybody got for, like, a hot minute that, like, made it look like you were kind of an oil painting. And Alex had a picture of his cat and him, and Cameron saved it as his background screen, I guess. One of the other things I know you do, I think, Chloe, more than any of the rest of us, is you Twitch stream. So what got you into starting to do that? It was just kind of like you wanted to play Battlefront 2 with General Grievous or Destiny 2 with Cade, and you're like, all right, I'm going to do this and have an audience?
Pretty much. I don't even know what got me into like wanting to do that. It's just like, oh, that looks like fun. You get to play video games, and if you're good enough, that you get paid for it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to do that. So I did, and it was kind of on and off for a while. Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out, and they added General Grievous, so I'm like, got really into that. Built like a little community out of that. That was fun. And then I kind of fell off it a little bit. And then after Kind of Funny, I'm like, okay, I should really lean into the Twitch streaming while I like have all these eyes on me.
Yeah.
And I did.
Strike
and
while
it worked out.
strike while the iron is hot, which is something I also did not learn back because I guess I didn't go into like my origin stories and stuff, but back before, or I guess it would have been right after I met Cameron. Back right after that first Kind of Funny live, I went and did the Kind of Funny Games cast as one of their early Patreon supporter at that level. And that was the first podcast I ever did, and it was just basically like, okay, well, I want to see if I can do this, if I can hold up against people that do this professionally, and I felt good about it, but I didn't have anything to plug at the time because I didn't have Trevor Trove yet. It was just like, no, I'm just a guy here doing a show, and I got like a bunch of Twitter followers out of the thing, but I was like, I don't have anything for them to come see me do, and so. Launching Trevor Trove like 6 months later was like, yeah, I kind of missed the boat a little bit on that one, but I'm glad you're trying to be better about capitalizing on your up and comer status.
Right.
If I was smart, I would have capitalized off of Miss Movies, and I didn't. So Chloe's the only intelligent one here.
That is scary.
It's yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of great endorsements when I started Naughty Gamers, and that just did not pay off. Like I did not stoke those early flames.
Well, here's round 2 for us all. We can all try and do better this time, and we've got that nerdy site to promote now. So I thank you all for kind of sharing those stories with me, and with our audience, because obviously I knew many of them. One last thing I want to ask before we kind of wrap up here is I kind of want to go around Robin and just be like, hey, what's something you're super nerdy about? In part because I'm writing our bios on the website and I need to put something in on that box on you guys, and I already have like placeholders, but I figure if I can get things from actually you, I'll do that. So I'll kick it off and be like, on the website, I'm putting myself out there as like, I'm nerdy about video games and theater. Obviously, I'm nerdy about a shit ton of other things as well, but for the sake of like, hey, here's weird little things that I like. That's what I'm going with. So, Cameron, how about you? What are some things you're nerdy about?
I'm nerdy about. You might want to circle back to me.
Okay. Yeah, you are the king of the long pauses. So, Ben, how about you? What are you nerdy about?
I'm trying to narrow it down right now. Movies.
I mean, like, you can just name a couple things and then boom, cut yourself off, and there, it's not.
But what
like,
if they're not the best things?
They don't need to, like, this can be a thing we come back to on the podcast. We will, if you don't say film today, that doesn't mean you can never talk about film on the show.
The suspect. I'm nerdy about film, movies.
You're nerdy about the tea, whatever the tea is.
I love some good tea, man. Some good hot goss. I can't believe I said hot goss. Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm nerdy about movies. I'm nerdy about theater as well, specifically musical theater. I'm nerdy about video games as well. Definitely, I wouldn't say I'm the nerdiest about it in comparison to some of the people on this site and some of the people in our general social circles, but I'm passionate about video games. They're cool. I enjoy them. And I love Paddington 2 and Paddington 1, but especially Paddington 2. It's a good bear, man.
Yeah, you were super nerdy about Paddington 2. And that reminds me, you went and saw Anastasia recently.
I did.
Musical theater-wise. I am seeing it tomorrow.
Exciting.
So it basically... It's basically the same touring company. They pretty much always leave you guys and come straight here to Phoenix. So
seems like it.
I get to see them like a couple weeks after you guys. So yeah, I will report back.
Please do.
To let you know what I thought about it. For your edification, what I have in for you as a placeholder on the site, Ben, I believe, is nerdy about film and Disneyland.
That's fair.
And Chloe, how about you? What are you nerdy about?
Robots, aliens, and robot aliens.
Excellent. I have, for you I had robots, memes, and TikTok.
TikTok's so
too.
good.
Yep. I don't doubt you guys. I just think you all need to remember I'm 34 years old, and I'm pretty sure I'm just not the target demo for TikTok.
Look, all I'm saying is you and I were in the same hotel room when Chloe corrupted me into downloading TikTok. You could have been part of this.
Could have
I
been.
Yeah, I could have. I feel like I was taking care of somebody though during that weekend, so
One
I
night.
just couldn't focus on that.
You were
Uh,
gone.
Yeah, that was fun. All right, Cameron, have we given you enough time to think and identify?
I would say the biggest thing that I'm probably super nerdy about in like the realm of nerddom is probably esports and being a supportive, nice person rather than a person who thinks he has hot takes.
That's like I know that is a leap for you.
Wrestling. It's wrestling. Wrestling and esports.
Well,
Definitely.
also, I mean, I can appreciate you're trying to be a supportive, nice person thing being a thing you're nerdy about because you got so overwhelmed when you realized you didn't have the hottest takes.
Boom! I got mentally boomed hard. Plank fan mentally boomed me. There's an actual like recording of like my realization that I have no hot takes. That like I've never had any hot takes. Like just like you could put the not It's Always Sunny. The what's the one with the guy who made Seinfeld?
Curb Your
I'm trying to
Enthusiasm.
remember. Yeah, you can put the Curb Your Enthusiasm music over it.
All right.
Like it's like it's an incredible moment where it's just like the mental booming that happened redirected my entire trajectory.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I had wrestling for you, Cam, and I think what was the other one? I think probably just video games. But excellent.
yeah, in particular, I'm super passionate about esports. In particular, the fighting game community and Overwatch.
Yeah,
League.
that's I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I think that that can serve as like the wrap up for this first episode of this show. So thank you all again for joining me. Let's go around our metaphorical table and kind of do anything anybody wants to plug. Cameron, I'll kick it to you first because I know you have a big old like thing you're doing on the day that this goes live, November 1st.
Yeah, the day that this goes live, I'm rebranding. I will no longer be known as the unsexiest comedian. I'm changing all that up. I think my PSN name will probably stay that for a while until I decide to change it to something else. But you'll be able to follow me at Rev Cabot. That's Rev Cabbott. Just my name and title. So you can follow me on Twitter there, and then unless somebody decides to swipe it before I get to it again. I'm looking at you, Ben.
What'd I do? Oh.
Not really.
Ben didn't react at all.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I actually had Trevor's window pulled up anyway.
Nice.
So I wasn't even looking at Ben. You can follow me for editorial stuff. I write a lot about different viewpoints and takes on different events going on in the gaming industry as different trends and things that are interesting over at handsomephantom.com. I should have a new piece up by the time this goes live. I think it's in the pipeline to get published sometime later this week. But also, if you head over to my Twitter, I will have a video up kind of explaining my whole rebranding and everything behind that. So,
Cool.
yeah, that's it.
All right. Ben, how about you? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Mr_BentoBox or anywhere else at Mr. BentoBox. That Wannabe Film Class will have its pilot episode dropping some point after this podcast drops within that week. We haven't exactly locked down a day, but that'll be cool. So check that out. And
For the launch, I think we're gonna have basically all three of them go out on Friday if we have
cool.
them ready to go, and then we'll settle into our regular schedule to follow.
Then I rescind my sometime that week comment. It'll drop at the same time as this. If you're watching this first, please go, or listening to this first, please go listen to That Wannabe Film Class. We have a good old time. We talk about Mamma Mia. And I will also be doing NaNoWriMo over the course of November. I'm writing a first draft of a book, or as much of it as I can without wanting to die. And I'm going to tweet that. I've decided that in this exact moment. So I don't know what those tweets are going to be, but I'm doing it now.
Cool. Well, if like we have a website, if you want to write it up there as well, I can give you access.
Oh no, it's just gonna be like tweets about like updates on what's happening. Me slowly dying.
Okay.
The book stays protected because it's a first draft and it'll be bad.
That's
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, that my whole initial 300 days of writing every day kicked off as a NaNoWriMo thing back in 2015.
And then
so,
you went crazy.
Instead of writing a novel, I wrote about video games and published them every day, and then I just kept it going after November ended. NaNoWriMo, for anybody that doesn't know, is National Novel Writing Month.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
And that's basically every November. Same kind of thing as what, like No Shave November.
Kind of, but more productive.
Very cool. All right. How about you, Chloe? Anything you want to plug?
You can follow me anywhere and everywhere. My username is always EchoClo. So Twitch, Twitter, where I spend most of my time. Instagram, I'm there sometimes. TikTok, if you're into that. Also EchoClo. All that. If you really like robots and really like General Grievous and really bad memes, or great memes, depending on your outlook. That's real.
Excellent. You can follow me at Trevor J. Starkey. Like I said earlier in the show, I'll have, in addition to kind of the launch of the website and all of the podcasts around it, I will have a big, like, hey, this is what launching this new thing means to me, especially with a whole bunch of other recent ongoing or recent things going on in my life. That nerdy site launching is hitting at, I guess, the right time for me. So there will be kind of a thing up on the website about that. You can follow all of us at That Nerdy Site. As I mentioned up front, if you're listening to this new show this weekend of our November 1st launch, please also feel free to come join us at twitch.tv/thatnerdysite, where we will be streaming throughout the weekend. Or I know our friends at Kind of Funny are doing their big 24-hour stream. Also, feel free to go support them because that's going to be a ton of fun as well. And yeah, let's go help them big, beautiful kids. If you liked what you heard, please rate, review, like, and subscribe, and maybe even consider supporting us on patreon.com/thatnerdysite. Every patron gets early access to a monthly bonus episode of That Nerdy Site show. So yeah, thank you again for listening, and stay nerdy and be good to each other.